Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Seema Balian, and today I'm going to be taking you through care plan. What is care plan, how to write a care plan, and how to decide that whether it is a good care plan, and the tips that how you can complete it in time, and what are the things that you can help you write a real good plan. So let's go. Now, care plan, as all of you would understand, that care plan is one of the stations which forms the part of your API section. So it is a silent station, and the time that you will get is 14 minutes to complete the station. You will need to write one care plan with two relevant problems, considering the aspect of care related to the scenario from your assessment. You will need to use the black pen to complete the station. Make sure that the problems are not similar. Also make sure your writing is clear and legible and that you complete all aspects of the care plan. Please try and avoid rewriting, overwriting, or crossing out if possible. But if you must do that, then a single cross and an initial on top can be accepted. Now, in order for us to understand the care plan and how we can write a good care plan, we need to know a few things. And those things are that what is a care plan? Why do we write the care plan? What is the format or various sections of the care plan? What information do I need to know to write a care plan? Also, how will I be evaluated? And how do I know that whether my care plan is good or not? So as we progress in this presentation, I'm hoping to answer all these questions. And hopefully you will have a better understanding of care plan once you've gone through this video. So in order to answer the first question, that what is care plan and what is its purpose? So basically, care plan is a document that provides a direction for individualized patient care. The main focus of nursing care plan is to facilitate standardized and evidence-based and holistic care. Now, it also provides the continuity of care of the patient, because as you all understand that when you are in a hospital, there are changes in the duty and different people come after us in different shifts. So we need to make sure that we have a document of the care plan which can be followed by all of the people who are coming and working in different shifts. So for the patient, the continuity of care is maintained. A care plan is also used to record the patient's problem and identify the desired goal. So this will give us a guidance that what is the problem and what do we want to achieve? How do we want to sort out that problem? The care plan also states all the interventions that we have taken or we are going to be taking in order to achieve that goal. And the care plan becomes a document which all of the nursing team is going to be followed in order to make sure that we get a best outcome for the patient. Now, the format of the care plan. So format of the care plan is that the first step that we need to do is that we need to identify a relevant problem. So if you will look, the very first thing before you decide what to do with the problem, you need to know what the problem is. So identify the relevant problem. Then you are going to set your aim to resolve that problem. And that aim needs to be SMART. So it has to be, by SMART, I mean that it has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It is something that is achievable. It is something that is time bound. And it is relevant. So that is basically what a SMART aim needs to be. So you have to define a time by when you think that you can achieve your aim. And also that time is going to tell that when do you have to reevaluate your care plan. And by reevaluating your care plan, we actually mean that it is the reevaluation of the care plan and it is not the assessment of the patient. So please do not get confused between the assessment and the reevaluation of the care plan. Then you have to write the interventions that you are going to be taking in order to achieve your aim. And also you are, apart from the goals which you are setting for yourself, you will also set a few goals for the patient. So because patient has to be part of the care plan, it is the patient's care plan, and the patient will need to help us out to make sure that we are able to comply and achieve our goals. Yeah. So we are going to be setting some self-care goal for the patient as well. Now, this is how a care plan in actual it looks like, or the format of the care plan looks like. So it is usually an A4 page that you will be getting. And just as, although there is no hard and fast rule, but that is how the exam is, that you are going to be using one page for one problem. First problem is usually the problem that the patient is presented with. 5 or 6 points of intervention should be enough for you to give a line of sight onto what interventions you are going to take to achieve your goal. 3 or 4 self-care points should be fine as well. You can combine those with your nursing interventions. Make sure that you are not repeating the points, because that is unnecessarily wasting your space and time. It is very important that you sign and date your care plan. So as you can see on the side that there is patient details are there, which normally in the exam, it is quite possible that they will already be completed and given to you. But please always make sure that you check that as per your notes that the patient details are correct. Then is the nursing problem, which we have already discussed, that you will need to identify the nursing problem. You will need to put your aim, which has to be a SMART aim. And then you are going to put a re-evaluation date in, this is the time in which you think that you should be able to achieve your aim. And then you are going to write the nursing interventions. Now, in order for me to write a good care plan, what information do I need? So the information which I will probably require are going to be the problem of the patient. Now, the problems are of various types. So it could be a current problem. It is possible it's an ongoing problem, or it is something that you anticipate that is going to be a problem. Then you also need to know that is the patient post-operative? Are there any specific set of observations which are required, such as like a GCS? So you might require a separate set of neurological information observations. So then you have to also see that what is the patient's normal ability versus the current capability of the patient. Because in order for you to understand that how much care the patient is going to require, you need to understand that what is the current capability of the patient. You also have to find out that what is it that the patient is concerned about, because ultimately it is the patient who you are treating and for whom you are making this care plan. So the patient problem needs to be solved. So you need to make sure that whatever you think is the problem, patient also agrees that that is their problem as well. Yeah. Then you also need to make sure that you understand that whether you need to give your patient any information. You need to show them, tell them what is the ward routine, what are the procedures, how you need to show them the layout of the ward, and where the toilets are, all those kind of things. So you need to make sure that you educate the patient in that as well. And then sometime it is possible that there are some family needs that you will need to look into, and you need to incorporate those in your care plan as well. So once you have got the information and you have written a care plan, then it becomes like that, okay, how will I be evaluated? And this is something that if we know pre-hand that, okay, what is the evaluation criteria, or what are the, what is my assessment going to be looking like? So if I know, or if I have some idea about that in advance, then it will help me to write the care plan as according to that, with making sure that I incorporate all of the information as well. So your evaluation is based upon that. First of all, your handwriting should be clear and legible, because anyone to give to make any assessment, they will need to be able to read and understand. Then you need to identify two relevant problems, but the problems should be different. Then you need to identify the aims of both of the problem. You need to set appropriate evaluation date and time for both the problems. You ensure that the nursing interventions are current, related to evidence-based and the best practices. Self-care opportunities are identified and are relevant. And you use professional terminology used in the care planning. So remember again that care plan is going to be read by professionals. So you can use professional terms in that one. Make sure that you are avoiding any confusing abbreviations or uncommon abbreviations. You can use the common abbreviations, but try and avoid the uncommon ones. Ensure that the strike through errors retain legibility. So do not like cross it out too much. You can just mark one cross and you can put your initial on top of it. And you need to print, sign, and date on both of your problems. So make sure that you sign and write your name on for both of the problems. Now, how do I know that my care plan is good? Yeah. So any good care plan is the care plan that fulfills the criteria. Basically, that is what, if you are able to fulfill all of the criteria that we have just read, then you can rest assured that it is a good care plan that you have written. Now, let us go through an example of a care plan, and probably you will be able to understand it in a much better way. Now, example of a care plan scenario. If we take this as an example, so there are patient details which are over there, and the brief history of the patient says that Ash Potter was referred to surgical assessment unit after presenting 10 days post-operatively with an inflamed abdominal wound and pain following an uncomplicated laparoscopy hemicolectomy to remove a small primary colorectal cancer. Yeah, so there is a lot of information in just these few lines, but we do understand that this patient has come, this was a 10 days post-operative patient, is having an inflamed wound, and this wound is from a laparoscopic hemicolectomy that he had to remove a small colorectal cancer. So now let's see how can we write this as a problem. Now, choosing a problem. Now, below are few of the problems that you can choose. As we said that earlier, that normally your first problem is the one which is the presenting problem. Now, in this patient, if we look that what are the presenting problems? So most likely the patient is having pain as one of the presenting problem. Anxiety could be another problem. These are the two main things which can be your presenting problem because the patient might be worried about. Now, there are some additional problems which come along with that, which you can use as your second problem. The additional problems are like risk of infection, self-care deficit, risk of further complications because of what is going on. So you have got, just from these few lines of the history, you have been able to recognize almost 5-6 problems, out of which you have to choose 2 problems to write. So when we are writing a care plan, then the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is that what is the problem? And as soon as you answer this question, you will come along with your first problem that you need to write the care plan. So the next slide is going to tell us that how do we write a problem? Now, when we are writing a problem, it is always a good idea to give an evidence of the problem. Now, when we asked this question that what is the problem, the next thing that we want to find out is that why do we think that that is a problem, or what evidence do I have to say that yes, that is a problem? So there can be many ways of giving the evidence, and that depends upon what the problem is. So the problem that you are choosing, that problem should be relevant and it should be simple. So please do not overcomplicate your life by choosing a very complicated problem. Break down your problem and choose which is the most common problem that you have, and keep it simple. Yeah. So when you are able to tell that what is the problem and how do I know that that is a problem, you should be able to get the evidence of that problem. For example, if we are taking pain as the problem for Ash, we are saying that Ash is experiencing pain. That becomes the problem. How do I know that? Because I have done an assessment on Ash, and it is Ash has told me that on his pain score, his pain is 5 out of 10. So my pain score becomes the evidence of the problem. So if when I'm going to write it, I'm going to be writing it that Ash is experiencing pain related to the inflamed abdominal wound as evidenced by the pain score of 5 out of 10. So this becomes a very comprehensive problem along with the evidence that why I think that that is a problem. I hope all of you would have understood that one. Now, once we have chosen our problem, we have to write the aim. Although if we just ask ourselves that once you know the problem, what is your aim? So aim is always that we need to solve the problem or we need to sort out the problem. Yeah, so in simple terms, that is my aim. But it can't be as simple. So my aim should be specific. It should be measurable. It should be achievable. It should be relevant and realistic. And it has to be time bound. So when I'm going to be checking all these things, then how can I make sure that I know that my aim is smart? So if I'm going to be able to make sure that I have some evidence which tells me that yes, my aim is very specific and I can measure my aim with that particular evidence, and I know that I can achieve it and it is relevant and I can achieve it within the time, I'll know. So majority of the time, the evidence that you used to define the problem can also be used to make sure that the problem is resolving. Like again, if we take an example over here, we are saying that the aim for Ash's problem is that Ash will feel better and will express relief from the pain with pain score of 0 to 3 out of 10. So if I see that it is telling me that I'm being specific, that I'm trying to resolve his pain, I know that it is measurable because I have a pain score tool with which I can check that it is measurable. I know that it is achievable as well. So from a pain score of 5 to bring it down to pain score of 3 is achievable. It is realistic and relevant as well. And I'm going to make it time bound by giving a reevaluation time as well. So I know that it is going to be time bound. I know that when I'm going to dispense the medication, I will be able to achieve my aim. So then I come to the reevaluation time. Now, as I had told you earlier, that it is usually the time that you think should be enough for you to achieve or reach closer to your aim. And hence you might need to reevaluate the care plan, because reevaluation of care plan is important so that you can tick off that problem, that okay, that problem has been solved and you can move ahead in the patient's journey. So that is why we need to reevaluate the problem. Now, again, please note that reevaluation is of the care plan. Do not confuse it with the reassessment of the patient. Also think that how much time will I actually require to achieve that goal before you set the reevaluation time. So please don't make it a very unrealistic or unachievable kind of thing. I cannot say that, okay, I'm going to be achieving a pain score of 0 after the patient was having a pain score of 5 within the next few hours. I cannot do it. It is not magic. So I will have to give enough time, which I think is going to be a realistic time span for my patient to actually achieve that goal. So these are the three most important things to set up your, to find what the problem is, to set up your aim, and then to set up your reevaluation time. Once we have done all these three things, then we are going to be coming down to what nursing intervention are we going to do in order for us to achieve our goal. Now, in order to make it slightly easier for you guys to, for us to write the care plan, I have given a small mnemonic, which is a common mnemonic that majority of the people use. Now, again, with the mnemonics, please do not think that it is the set pattern or you have to always write it like this. Mnemonics are majority of the time used as a help. So something that can give you a guidance, but still you can make the care plan as your own. You don't have to stick to the mnemonic. But let us go through the mnemonic to give it some structure to our care plan. So the mnemonic is like Imatinib, in which E starts for explain. So we need to, whenever we start making any interventions, we need to first make sure that we explain the interventions to the patient and we gain the consent of the patient. We need to then monitor that the patient, that okay, what is the current situation of the patient, monitor the signs and symptoms of the patient. We need to make our assessment, that okay, what currently is the assessment, or what are the vitals which are saying, what findings do we have of the vital signs and symptoms of the patients. We need to teach the patient some things, or educate the patient to say that how they can help, what they can do to make sure that they are in a comfortable position, that they can help towards achieving that goal. By A is administer. Administer, we mean that we need to administer the medication which have been written down for the patient. R is for refer. Now, refer depends upon what the problem is. Sometimes if we feel that the problem is something where a referral to a further specialist is required, then we would arrange for that referral. For example, if someone has had a fracture, we know that they will be benefiting by referring them for a physiotherapist, so we can refer them for physiotherapist. If someone is malnourished, we would refer them for a dietitian. So we need to decide that whether a referral is required or not and is relevant. So if required, then we can refer the patient. I is for instruct. So we are going to give some instructions to the patient in which will help the patient to look after themselves better, and also to make sure that they can raise alarm if there is anything which is out of the ordinary or which is unexpected, which happens. Then is the document, which is very, very important, that you are going to make sure that you document correctly about what interventions that you have taken, and you make a correct notes of all of those things. So that is explains our IMATRID, which should give you 7-8 points for you to write, which should be more than enough for your you to give a timeline of and the intervention, how you are going to achieve your aim. So for ASH, if we are going to be able to take an example for this one, then we are going to explain the care plan to ASH and gain his consent. ASH will give his consent. So that is a part of the self-care, that ASH will understand and he will give his consent. We are going to monitor and document all the vital signs as per the new score and escalate accordingly. We are going to assess the pain with pain assessment tool and noting the verbal and non-verbal cues, and assist ASH into a comfortable position. And ASH will verbalize the pain score and will try to maintain a comfortable position. So that is the self-care thing that ASH is going to do. We are going to teach ASH relaxation techniques such as deep breathing exercise and distraction therapy to alleviate his pain. We are going to administer analgesics as prescribed and reassess the effectiveness in 30 minutes. ASH will verbalize if there is any adverse effect that he gets. We are going to refer ASH to the pain team if the pain persists. We are going to instruct ASH in an appropriate use of the call bell so that he can raise alarm if there is any problem. And also we will ensure that it is placed within easy reach, and ASH, as a part of his self-care, is going to use the call bell for any assistance that is required. And then after assessing effectiveness of all care rendered, we are going to document everything as per the NMC guidelines. So it is not that complicated. So we have kept the things very, very simple, and it is going very much in the flow of how you are going to be progressing in this care plan. Now, top tips, how you can make sure that your care plan is the best one. Make sure that you read and understand the scenario update which has been given to you. So after your assessment, when you go for the planning station, there is going to be a scenario update. So please make sure that you read and understand it. Again, keep your problems simple. Your handwriting should be clear and legible. Ensure strike-through errors retain legibility. Focus on your goal. Think smart. Remember, it's one care plan with two problems, and you do not need to repeat any interventions that you are doing. If assessing, then make sure that you think about that what tool can I use and how often. So try and make sure that you are using tools to give your evidence, and you are using the tools to help you with the care plan to make it more of an objective care plan. Remember to sign and date. So these are the top tips. I'm sure that if you are going to go through them, there is no reason that why you can't write a good care plan. And that is the care plan sorted out for you. So I hope that this video is going to really help you understand the care plan and also help you write good care plans without thinking and taking very much stress about the care plan. The last tip is that make sure it is 14 minutes that you are getting. Divide your time between both the problems so that you can give equal time to both the problems and you are not then rushing at the last problem. So thank you very much for listening to me and good luck. And I'll see you again.